The story begins with the first rays of dawn spreading across the valley. Golden light touched the stone walls of Eldoria's fortress, where the banners of the kingdom fluttered gently in the morning breeze. The once peaceful stronghold was now a place heavy with unease. Whispers of betrayal moved like shadows through its halls, and soldiers no longer trusted one another with the same warmth they once did. Inside the grand hall, King Alaric sat on the throne, his face marked by lines of both wisdom and weariness. He had ruled with fairness and honor, but now, suspicion gnawed at him. Reports of secret alliances and broken promises had reached his ears. The council chamber, usually filled with lively debate, had turned into a ground of quiet mistrust. Every word spoken was weighed, every glance was questioned. The king summoned his closest circle, Sir Cedric, the valiant knight, Lady Eveline, the keeper of records and secrets, Master Rowan, the old advisor, and Arin, the young soldier whose courage had already shone brighter than his years. They gathered around the long oak table, maps and letters spread before them. "Something stirs in the dark," King Alaric's voice carried across the chamber. "Loyalty is no longer certain. Even within these walls, trust falters. And in times such as these, loyalty is our greatest weapon, or our gravest weakness." Silence filled the hall. Sir Cedric lowered his gaze, his hand tightening on the hilt of his sword. Lady Eveline traced her fingers across an old scroll, as though searching for guidance in the ink of the past. Rowan coughed softly, his frail body betraying his age, but his eyes still sharp with wisdom. And Arin, standing tall though his youth betrayed his inexperience, felt the weight of the king's words pressing upon him. That evening, as torches flickered along the fortress walls, the first test of loyalty arrived. A messenger rode in hastily, his horse foaming at the mouth, his cloak torn by the winds of the road. He fell to his knees before the king, delivering a sealed letter. The wax bore the sigil of Lord Malrik, a once loyal ally whose allegiance had recently become uncertain. The letter was read aloud by Lady Eveline. "To King Alaric, rumors reach us of shifting tides and whispers of betrayal. I request safe passage into your court, for I bear news that could change the fate of our realm. But I must know, will your men still stand for me, or has loyalty turned its back?" The hall erupted in debate. Sir Cedric slammed his fist on the table. "This is a trap. Malrik has already been seen with the enemy's envoys. If we welcome him, we risk betrayal from within." Lady Eveline countered, her voice calm but firm. "And yet, to reject him outright might push him fully into the arms of our foes. The kingdom cannot afford to lose another ally. Loyalty is not demanded, it is tested." Arin listened silently, his heart pounding. He had always believed loyalty to be simple: a knight stood for his king, a soldier followed orders, a friend never betrayed trust. But now, in this hall filled with uncertainty, he realized that loyalty was more fragile, more complicated than he had ever imagined. King Alaric rose, his cloak sweeping across the stone floor. "We shall invite Lord Malrik," he declared, his voice steady, though his eyes betrayed unease. "But his loyalty shall be tested. Not by words, but by deeds." That night, Arin found himself unable to sleep. The fortress was alive with murmurs. Some soldiers whispered that Malrik would betray them the moment he set foot inside. Others believed his loyalty could yet be secured. Arin walked the corridors, his mind restless. He paused at the armory, where Sir Cedric sharpened his blade. "Do you not trust Malrik?" Arin asked, hesitant. Sir Cedric's jaw tightened. "Trust is not given, boy. It is earned. Malrik was once a brother in arms, a man I would have died beside. But times change. Temptation corrupts even the strongest of men. Loyalty is like a blade, once broken, it may be forged again, but never the same." Arin nodded, though Cedric's words unsettled him. In his heart, he wanted to believe people could remain true. He wanted to think that bonds of loyalty could withstand any storm. But perhaps he was naive. The next morning, Lord Malrik arrived at the fortress gates. His cloak was black as night, his face shadowed by a hood. Behind him rode only two companions, silent and unreadable. The guards shifted uneasily, gripping their spears tighter. The gates creaked open, and Malrik entered. The grand hall fell silent as he approached the king, his footsteps echoing against the stone. He knelt briefly, though not with the humility expected. His eyes met Alaric's with a mixture of defiance and fatigue. "Your Majesty," Malrik spoke, his voice deep, carrying the weight of both authority and secrecy. "I come bearing truth. But truth demands trust. And I sense trust here is scarce." King Alaric's gaze did not waver. "Speak then, Malrik. And prove where your loyalty lies." As Malrik began to unfold his tale of spies, shifting alliances, and promises whispered in the dark, every pair of eyes in the hall fixed upon him. The question hung heavy in the air: was he here as a loyal friend of the kingdom, or as the shadow of betrayal itself? The first step in the test of loyalty had begun. The air in the grand hall grew heavier as Malrik spoke. His words painted a picture of conspiracy, enemy scouts slipping through the forests, secret deals forged in candlelit chambers, and whispers of rebellion rising in the eastern provinces. Yet for every truth he revealed, a shadow of doubt clung to him. King Alaric listened silently, his hand resting upon the carved lion of his throne. When Malrik's tale was done, the king's voice broke the silence. "You speak of treachery, Malrik. But some would say treachery clings closer to you than to those you accuse. Tell me, why should this court believe you?" The tension was sharp as a drawn sword. Malrik's jaw tightened. His eyes flickered briefly to Sir Cedric, who stood tall, every muscle coiled with suspicion. Then to Lady Eveline, whose calm gaze was fixed upon him, as though she sought to read the truth behind his words. Finally, his eyes rested on Arin, the youngest, the most untested, and perhaps the easiest to sway. "I do not ask for belief," Malrik replied, his voice steady but tinged with bitterness. "I ask for a chance to prove myself. Give me a task, a trial, let my loyalty be measured by action, not memory." Murmurs rippled through the hall. Master Rowan coughed, leaning on his staff as he spoke. "The boy is right," he wheezed, his eyes sharp despite his frailty. "Words are mist, easily shaped, easily scattered. Deeds, however, leave marks that no wind can erase." The king considered, then nodded. "Very well. Malrik, you shall have your trial. But know this, if you falter, if you betray us again, your fate will be sealed not by me, but by those gathered in this hall." Sir Cedric's hand gripped his sword tighter. Lady Eveline's expression remained unreadable. Arin felt a strange pull in his heart, part fear, part hope. That very night, the test began. Scouts had reported an enemy camp hidden in the dense woods to the north. A group of infiltrators was gathering intelligence and spreading fear among the nearby villages. Their leader, known only as the Shade, was said to be a master of deception, skilled in turning allies into traitors. The king declared, "Malrik, you shall lead a small company to confront this threat. With you shall go Sir Cedric, to guard the honor of this mission. Lady Eveline, to bear witness and record what transpires. And Arin, for the fire of youth and courage. Rowan shall remain by my side to guide the kingdom in our absence." Malrik bowed slightly, though not with the humility of a man grateful for mercy. There was pride still in him, perhaps too much pride. The following dawn, the four set out. The forest swallowed them quickly, shadows stretching long under the rising sun. The journey was tense. Words were few. At one point, as they crossed a narrow bridge of stone over a roaring river, Sir Cedric broke the silence. You expect us to trust you, Malrik? After years of silence, after rumors of your dealings with our foes? Loyalty once broken is not easily mended. Malrik did not flinch. His eyes stayed on the path ahead. I do not ask for your trust, Cedric. Only for the chance to earn it again. Lady Eveline interjected, her voice quiet but sharp. And yet, men often cloak their ambitions in the language of loyalty. Be careful, Malrik. One step astray, and Cedric's sword will find your throat before any enemy's blade does. Arin followed silently, his heart torn. He saw the fire in Cedric's eyes, the doubt in Eveline's words, and the pride in Malrik's stance. Was loyalty truly so fragile, so easily questioned? Or could it be proven, even after betrayal? As night fell, they made camp in a clearing. The firelight flickered across their faces, Cedric scarred and stern, Eveline's calm and watchful, Arin's youthful and uncertain, Malrik's proud and unreadable. While the others slept, Arin found himself restless. He rose and wandered to the edge of the clearing. There, beneath the cold stars, Malrik stood alone, gazing into the dark forest. Why do you fight for us? Arin asked, his voice breaking the silence. Malrik did not turn. Because I have no other home, he said softly. I may have faltered, boy. I may have listened to whispers that should have been silenced. But in the end, my blood runs with this kingdom. I will not see it fall. Arin wanted to believe him. Yet Cedric's warning echoed in his mind, once broken, loyalty never mends the same way. The next day, they reached the enemy camp. From the ridge above, they could see tents clustered like shadows among the trees, guarded by men whose armor bore no crest. The Shade's men. Cedric whispered, we strike at night. Cut off the head, and the body falls. Eveline studied the camp carefully. The Shade is clever. If we act rashly, we may spring into his trap. We must test Malrik here. Let him walk into the camp as though he were one of them. If he returns with the Shade's plans, we shall know where his loyalty lies. Arin's heart pounded. The idea was dangerous, too dangerous. Malrik could betray them in an instant. Yet, perhaps this was the only way to know. Cedric's voice was hard as iron. Agreed. If he betrays us, he dies before he leaves the camp. All eyes turned to Malrik. He said nothing, but after a long pause, he nodded. I will go. As the sun dipped and shadows lengthened, Malrik disappeared into the enemy camp, his figure swallowed by the night. The others waited in silence, hidden among the trees. Every creak of a branch, every rustle of leaves made Arin's heart leap. Cedric kept his hand on his sword. Eveline's gaze stayed fixed on the dark, unblinking. Minutes stretched into hours. Doubt gnawed at them like wolves at the door. Then, footsteps. A figure emerged from the shadows. Malrik. His cloak was torn, his face streaked with dirt, but in his hands he carried a bundle of scrolls. He dropped them before Cedric. The Shade's plans. Their numbers, their routes, their spies. We can strike before they move. Cedric stared at the scrolls, then at Malrik. His eyes narrowed. Or these are lies, forged to deceive us. Malrik's voice rose, anger sharp in it. Then kill me now, Cedric. If you will not believe me, let my blood water this cursed ground. But know this, if you waste time in doubt, the Shade will strike, and this kingdom will bleed. Silence. The firelight from their camp flickered across their faces, revealing the storm of suspicion, pride, and fear that raged between them. The test of loyalty was not yet over. Climax resolution, the night air in the forest was heavy with silence. The stolen scrolls lay spread upon the ground, illuminated by the dim glow of the campfire. Strange symbols, routes, and codes covered the parchment, plans that revealed the Shade's network like veins running through the kingdom's body. Sir Cedric crouched over them, his rough fingers tracing the ink as though it might come alive beneath his touch. His brow furrowed. If this is true, they intend to strike not only the border villages but the very heart of the capital. It is worse than I feared. Lady Eveline leaned closer, her calm voice carrying a note of urgency. Look here, these marks. They show infiltrators already within the walls of the city. If these are real, the kingdom is in more danger than any of us imagined. Arin, wide-eyed, whispered, then Malrik has done it. He risked his life to bring this back. Doesn't that prove his loyalty? Cedric's head snapped up, his eyes sharp as steel. Or it proves his cunning. A false plan, planted to earn our trust, is more dangerous than open betrayal. I will not place the safety of this kingdom upon blind faith. Malrik's jaw tightened. He had listened in silence long enough. Cedric, he growled, your suspicion is endless. I entered the wolves' den and brought back their secrets. If you still doubt me, then take your blade and end it now. But if you delay, the Shade's blade will fall upon us all before the moon wanes. The fire crackled, the only sound in the tense clearing. Eveline's eyes darted between them. She saw the truth. Cedric's devotion was to duty, Malrik's to redemption, Arin's to hope, and hers, to balance them all. Finally, she spoke, her tone steady. Enough. Whether these scrolls are true or a trap, we cannot linger. We will test them with action. If Malrik's words guide us to victory, then he proves his loyalty beyond question. If they lead us into ruin, Cedric's sword shall answer for us. The decision was made. By dawn, the four were on the move, following the routes laid out in the stolen scrolls. The forest gave way to rocky hills, and the whisper of the trees was replaced by the low growl of distant horns. They reached a ridge overlooking a narrow valley. Below, enemy soldiers gathered in silence, preparing for a night march toward the capital. Their torches glowed like scattered stars across the darkened land. Cedric's eyes hardened. So it was true. Arin clenched his fists, fear and excitement battling within him. If we strike now, we can stop them before they move. But Eveline raised a hand. Not yet. Look deeper. See that figure near the black banner? That must be the Shade. Kill him, and their force may scatter. Malrik's gaze was fixed upon that same figure. A tall man cloaked in shadow, face hidden beneath a hood, but with a presence that chilled the air. The Shade, he whispered, almost to himself. I know him. Cedric turned sharply. You know him? Malrik's eyes narrowed. Once. Long ago. He was a brother in arms, before he chose darkness. The revelation struck like a blade between them. Eveline's voice trembled slightly. So this was why suspicion clung to you. If you shared blood with the enemy, no. Malrik snapped, his voice raw. Not blood. Brotherhood forged in war. We swore oaths together once, but he broke them. I followed, yes, I faltered. But I returned. He did not. Arin, sensing the storm, spoke softly. Then this is your test, Malrik. Not ours. If you face him and choose loyalty, no one can doubt you again. The plan was made swiftly. Eveline and Arin would create a diversion, drawing soldiers away with fire and noise. Cedric would cut through the chaos, striking at the Shade's captains. Malrik would confront the Shade himself. As the sun fell and the valley darkened, they moved. Eveline's torch ignited dry brush, sending flames crackling into the night. Arin banged his sword against his shield, shouting, his youthful voice carrying across the valley. The enemy stirred, rushing to meet the disturbance. Cedric charged into the fray, a storm of steel, his blade flashing as he carved through the enemy lines. Malrik descended into the heart of the camp. The shade awaited him, still and silent, as though he had known Malrik would come. "Brother," the shade's voice hissed, smooth as venom. "So you return at last. I wondered how long you would crawl behind Alaric's throne before seeking me." Malrik's heart pounded. "I did not crawl. I rose. And I stand now to end what you began." The shade laughed, cold and mocking. "End? You cannot end what is already written. The kingdom rots, Malrik. Its king grows old, its knights weary. Join me again, and we can carve a new order from its corpse." For a moment, silence. Malrik's fingers trembled on his sword hilt. The temptation was real: power, revenge, freedom from the doubts that haunted him. But then, memories flooded back: Arin's trusting eyes, Eveline's calm faith, Cedric's unyielding suspicion, and the king's voice offering one last chance. He drew his sword. "No. My place is with them. My loyalty is to the crown, to the people, to the oaths I once betrayed but will not betray again." The shade's smile vanished. Steel clashed in the night. Their battle raged in the heart of the camp. Sparks flew, shadows danced. Malrik fought with desperation, every strike a declaration of his choice. The shade countered with deadly grace, each blow heavier than the last. Around them, Cedric cut down captains, Eveline's fire spread chaos, and Arin rallied villagers who had risen with makeshift arms to join the fight. At last, with a roar, Malrik drove his blade through the shade's guard, striking deep. The shade staggered, falling to one knee. His hood slipped, revealing a scarred face twisted with rage. "You chose chains," he spat, blood staining his lips. "While I chose freedom." Malrik's eyes burned. "No. You chose betrayal. And loyalty is stronger than freedom built on lies." With a final strike, the shade fell. The enemy forces, seeing their leader slain, broke into chaos. Cedric rallied the charge, Eveline directed the villagers, and Arin's courage blazed like fire. By dawn, the valley was theirs. Exhausted, bloodied, but alive, the four gathered once more. Cedric approached Malrik slowly, his sword still stained with battle. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, with a soldier's solemnity, he extended his hand. "You have proven yourself. Your loyalty is not in words, but in deeds. Forgive me for doubting." Malrik clasped his hand, weary but resolute. "Your doubt was just. Without it, I might not have found the strength to stand firm." Eveline smiled faintly. "Then perhaps the kingdom has gained not just one loyal knight, but a reminder that loyalty, once broken, can be reforged stronger than before." Arin, grinning despite his exhaustion, declared, "Then let us return as brothers and sisters, loyal to each other, loyal to the crown." They turned toward the rising sun, their shadows long behind them. The test of loyalty was over. But the story of loyalty itself had only just begun.